The Catholic Church views marriage as a sacred and lifelong covenant between a man and a woman. This union is modeled after Christ's love for his church. It is a sacrament, a visible sign of God's grace. A valid marriage, once consummated, is considered indissoluble. This means it cannot be dissolved by any human power. This understanding of marriage is rooted in scripture and tradition. Jesus himself said, "What God has joined together, let no man separate," Matthew 19:6. The Church upholds this teaching. It recognizes that the marriage bond is a profound reality. It is ordered towards the good of the spouses. It is also ordered towards the procreation and education of children. While the Church upholds the indissolubility of marriage, it does recognize certain circumstances where a union may be dissolved or declared null. It's important to distinguish between dissolution and annulment, as they are distinct concepts. Annulment is a declaration that a marriage, despite appearances, was never sacramentally valid. This could be due to various factors. These include a lack of consent, the presence of an impediment at the time of consent, or a defect in canonical form. An annulment does not dissolve a marriage, but rather declares that a valid marriage never existed from the beginning. Dissolution, on the other hand, applies specifically to non-consummated marriages. This means that the couple is not engaged in sexual intercourse after the wedding. In such cases, under certain conditions, the Church may grant a dissolution of the marriage bond. Two fundamental conditions must be met for the Church to consider a dissolution of a non-consummated marriage: non-consummation and a just cause. Non-consummation implies that the spouses have not engaged in the conjugal act that consummates the marriage. This act is the physical expression of the couple's total self-giving to one another. It is also open to the possibility of procreation. A just cause signifies a grave and serious reason that justifies the dissolution of the marriage. This could include the desire of one or both spouses to enter religious life. It could also include the moral impossibility of living together or other serious circumstances. Obtaining a dissolution is a detailed process. It involves several steps and requires the approval of the Pope. The process begins with a formal petition submitted to the diocesan bishop. This petition outlines the grounds for dissolution. It includes testimonies from both parties. The bishop then conducts a preliminary investigation. If he finds merit in the case, he forwards it to the Congregation for Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments in Rome. The congregation reviews the case in detail. They then make a recommendation to the Pope, who has the final authority to grant or deny the dissolution. If the dissolution is granted, it is issued in the form of a papal decree. This decree is then recorded in the appropriate church registers. This process underscores the seriousness with which the Church approaches the dissolution of even non-consummated marriages. It also highlights the sacredness of the marriage bond.